on, guys? You are on the sidelines with the Sideline guys. I'm Derrick.
And I'm Chris. Welcome back, everybody.
Yes, sir.
Feels
Yes,
like,
sir.
I don't know why, it feels like we haven't done one of these in so long. I don't know if it's because I've been
So
so
it's not just
busy.
me, is it?
Yeah. Or maybe it was just last week we were going off, so that makes sense too.
Yeah, no, that's what it was.
Mhm.
Yeah. Thanks to the NFL, and the Miami Dolphins for throwing our episode off. So,
Mhm. At least we got someone to blame.
oh man, I was about to say something. I'll leave that. I'll keep this to myself.
We can't do it 2 weeks in a row, bro. I mean, we could do it. We could get into it if you want, but
I
I'm
could
not
say
gonna
what I was
tempt
gonna say,
you.
but I'm not. I will leave it alone. I
Say
will leave
less,
it
say
alone.
less.
Yeah.
After the show, after the show.
I'll say
This
after the
this is
show.
what
Yeah.
you guys don't get to hear.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But let's go ahead and get into it, man. We got a action pack. This has been a crazy week that's being capped off by an amazing event. Two amazing events. We got UFC 271 and the Super Bowl.
Yes, sir. A packed
So
weekend.
you better get your wings ready.
Hmm.
You better. I'm actually thinking about buying some and just cooking them uh for Super Bowl. So I might do that.
Hmm.
Yeah, man. But yeah, let's get
Gotta.
into
It's
it,
only
bro.
right. It's
It's
only
only
right.
right. It makes sense. Wings and
Yeah,
beer.
man. I'm gonna be out making some money, so enjoy it for the both of us,
Hey,
my friend.
yo, look, that's a win-win, man.
Best day of the year, if you ask me, for
It's a
deliveries.
win-win. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yes, sir. And you know me, I have the map right next to the little picture in picture with the
Yeah.
Super Bowl on. Let's do it.
Got to.
But
Got to.
it's only right. I think we're starting off today with 271, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. So there's three key matchups on this one that I want us to cover. Usually I only do two.
Yep.
But hopefully we're not out of our depth in this one. But this one's taking place at the Honda Center in Houston. I don't like this. This is something for you to keep your eye out on, all you folks at home. Houston has one of the worst commissions in the United States, if you ask me. There's been many times where we go to Houston, have our MMA event, we're thinking everything's going to be sweet. And then
Mhm.
before we know it, the judges are terrible and we end up with a lot of weird decisions. So that's something to keep our eye out for this
Ooh,
weekend.
what's one that you can think of real quick?
The Jon Jones, what's this guy's name? The one that he lost, but he ended up winning anyway. Why am I forgetting? He looks like Crash Bandicoot on the low.
Gustafsson?
No. More recent. He's losing his hair. He lost to Jerry Prochazka with the elbow. Why can't I remember his name?
Did you say Crash
Dominic
Bandicoot?
Reyes. Dominic Reyes. You remember he got elbowed into oblivion by Yuri Prohashka. Yeah, that was one of the fights that Houston royally screwed up. Um, I think Dominic Reyes clearly won that fight 3-2. And I got my boy dying over here. He looks like Crash Bandicoot. It just is what it is. His
Bruh, that's
torso is so
hilarious.
long.
Okay, so we'll definitely keep that in mind. I know ooh, that's gonna be good with the bets.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
That's
man.
gonna be
Go to
good.
that. Those decision props, man. There's a couple of them that I'm looking at. But we'll get to that later.
Yes,
You
sir.
already know.
Yes, sir.
So the big three of this card, I'm gonna start off with the one that isn't in the marquee placements. We got Jared Cannonier coming up against Derek Brunson. Once again, Jared Cannonier is a beast coming down from heavyweight all the way to middleweight 185. His last fight was up against Robert Whitaker. Didn't have a bad fight at all. He lost, but he dropped Whitaker in the third round with a
Hmm.
broken arm. I think that's important to mention. He broke his arm in that fight,
Yeah.
defending kicks. So he's rebounded from that against Blonde Brunson, who's been on a roll, man, stopping a lot of hot prospects and really turning around his career, trying to get back in that title contention.
Yeah.
I'm excited for this one because this is the matchup that Derek Brunson hates. And funny enough, I feel like both guys are each other's kryptonite. Like I feel like if Jared Cannonier cracks him early, this could be done quick. Like Jared Cannonier's power at this division is significant, but
Yeah.
at the same time, Brunson's path to victory is really clear. If he's able to get him down, grind him out, I definitely think that is his path to victory. So, any thoughts on that matchup?
Does this have any title? Um, I can't remember why I'm blank on the word.
Implications. Yes.
Implications. Thank you. Thank
Yes,
you.
it does. And the main
Okay.
reason, it really all depends on how the main event shapes out. I think if a certain guy wins in this fight, for either winner of the main event, they
Mhm.
automatically are getting the title shot. So
Okay.
let me just quickly explain that. I think if Derek Brunson wins, he won't get the title shot because he already lost to Izzy, as we know.
Mhm.
So he'll probably end up in another number one contender spot. But if Robert Whitaker ends up coming on top, I think they'll be willing to do that rematch versus the Izzy rematch.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then if Jared Cannonier wins and Izzy wins, I'm sure that they're booking that fight because that's something that Izzy requested a long time ago
He
now,
did.
actually, when he
Yeah, he
first
did.
started his reign, saying that he
Yeah.
wanted to fight him.
Yeah.
So interesting little matchup, and the fact that they're on the same card makes it even better.
Yeah, that's the one I want to see. I feel like Cannonier can do it.
Mhm.
Because I definitely want to see that fight. I
I
definitely want
feel
to see
you.
that fight. Yeah,
I feel
man.
you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And his determination in the pocket, I think, is definitely a rough matchup for the way Izzy fights. I could
Yeah.
see that one being more competitive than a rematch with even Brunson and Adesanya.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I do want to see that one. So, um, I don't know. I'm gonna take Cannonier on this one. I know I know he's shorter. He's a little
Mhm.
shorter in this fight, but he got the advantage in reach a little bit, so not too much. But I'm gonna take Cannonier on this one. I think
For
that one could
sure.
go to decision.
Pretty sure the bookies are backing you too. I'm pretty sure he's the favorite. I'm
Yeah.
actually going with Derek Brunson. I think he's really on a roll at this part of his career, making the move down to Sanford MMA. They've been
Mm-hmm.
producing a lot of beasts, and obviously Kamaru got his start down there.
Mm-hmm.
So I really think that if now is a time, if there's ever been a time for Derek Brunson to make a run at a title, now is that time. And the way he's been fighting recently, I just feel like he's gonna get buzzed. He's gonna get cracked early,
Yeah.
but he's gonna find a way to survive and wrestle Cannonier for the rest of the round. So that's my pick. I'm excited for this one though. I'm definitely gonna put a bet on this fight.
Nice. Nice. I'm looking
Mhm.
forward to it. This. I'm excited for the whole card, honestly. But yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of matchups all the way down, even through the prelims that I'm excited
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah. For sure.
But these are the big ones. It's only right. Got
Yeah.
to get the big ones on the sideline, guys. So
Yes,
next
sir.
up, we got our co-main event: Derek Lewis versus Tai Tuivasa. I saw a clip earlier from the press conference that they did today, and Derek Lewis is like, I'm coming to knock him out respectfully, respectfully. Both of these guys known for their KO power,
Yeah.
known for going after it. What do you think about this matchup?
Um, I love Lewis. I love him. I don't see him being Ty Vasa. I may have just messed his last name up, but I don't see him winning that one. I
Mm,
he's on a roll. He's on a
yep.
roll, and it's something to be said when everyone's expecting you to win, not just off technique, but they want to see the celebration. They want to see that celebration. What's that called? A shoey?
The shoey.
Yeah, everybody wants to
Absolutely
see that. That's
disgusting.
the and it's random because it's like he gets like a random shoe to do that into, right? It's not even like his own shoe.
Out of the crowd, dude. People throw their shoes literally at him. And
No.
he also, I don't know if you know this, he always says this because the broadcast doesn't let him do it. But what
Mm,
he used to do pre-COVID, and this is true, I've seen him do it. Whenever someone's offering their shoe to him to
mm.
take a shoey, everyone in that vicinity spits in it as well. So it's the beer and the saliva of all the surrounding patrons, and then he takes it to the neck.
Yo,
It makes sense why that was
yo,
stopped post COVID, but hilarious.
dude, that just made me nauseous.
Oh yeah, it's so bad,
Oh,
dude.
that's
It is so
gross.
bad. You know, it's even. I'm gonna make it even worse. I'm gonna try to get you to throw up on air. That's what I'm doing today. I don't know if you saw this in Derek Lewis's last fight. He took his cup out and threw it. Right? Did you see that? And
No.
someone in the crowd literally ran and picked it up, like a souvenir. Hilarious.
Well, if you can get
Um,
it, if you can get it signed, I'm
hey,
not doing it. But if you can get it signed, that I mean, I'm not grabbing it.
Exactly.
I'm not
And it was a
grabbing it,
grown
but
man.
yeah.
I've never seen it with utter glee on his face as he's running to go pick
Yo,
up
people
somebody
are
else's
weird,
cup.
bro. People are
But I
weird.
bring that up to say, Tai Tuivasa said, I don't mind doing a cuppy if we need to. If Derek Lewis is throwing his cup, he said he will drink beer out of his cup. What is wrong with this man? What is wrong with
Yo,
this man?
yo, that's disgusting, man. Yeah, yeah,
Oh
that is
man, your
that's
face, bro. I think
wild.
that was the funniest thing like ever in the history of this show. Your face just now, bro.
Well, because I'm a germaphobe, man. Like, I can't even imagine. Like, I was at an event one time. I know this is so off topic, but I was at an event one time, and the lady that I was sitting next to, she accidentally grabbed my cup and started drinking from it. And then I was like, yo, that's it. Done.
I ain't
And
touching that.
nah, and then when I told her, I said, yo, like, that was my drink. She said, oh, I'm so sorry. You want it back? No. Ah, cool. And she just finished it off. I was like, yo, like, no, dude, like that's nah. So yeah, shoey cuppy, none of that. None of that,
None of
dog.
that. Miss
None of
me with
that.
that. Yes, sir. Yeah, no. You're gonna
Yeah.
have to pay me a large sum of money to get me anywhere close to doing something like that.
That's gotta be like a once in a lifetime type of offer for me to do
I
that.
was gonna say, yeah, let's set the money. What would you say with the spit and all? Like, what would you need to do
Spit
that?
and all, like from multiple
Yeah,
people, that's gotta be
yeah.
minimum 2 billion.
2 billion? Damn,
I'm
dude, you
telling you right now. Nah. Nah,
dude,
bro.
you have much higher standards than I do, bro. I just gotta say,
I can't do it, man. I can't do it. I've walked
shit.
away from some money already, so it's
We'll
mm-mm,
take it. We'll take it.
mm.
I think shit. My standards must be low as hell. I'm over here like 100K. I think 100K would get me to do it. You're like 2 billion.
You gotta
Not
shoot
even a
for the
mil.
stars,
Like not
bro.
1 mil. Not
Nah,
1 mil would get it done. Oh man, that's
nah,
so funny.
nah. Without now, if it was just you talking about with spit. Now, if we're talking
Mhm.
about just a random shoe, a couple million, 100 million, 50 to 100 million, I could see that. But you adding spit to it? Nah.
No, next level. I'm not even putting a price on the cuppy. We don't got to talk about that
Nah,
one.
the
We
cuppy,
can
that's
move.
that I'm hell no.
Not gonna be able to
Hell
do
no.
it.
Nah.
Shout out Jalen Rose. Not gonna be able to do it.
Hell no.
Yeah, no, there's no way.
Nah, there's a
But
limit.
not to detract at all from his skill as a fighter, I think it's
Yeah,
important to bring it back to that. But you were mentioning, that it's sort of expected of him now, and that's what everybody wants to see. I think
yeah,
that's a very interesting point too, because it's the same thing with Derek Lewis.
yeah,
Derek Lewis has his ritual as well, where he does
yeah,
the whole the beast moments after he ends up getting these knockouts, where he
yeah,
pounds
yeah.
his chest and then makes that face up at his opponent while they're
I want,
unconscious on the mat.
I want to see that, but not that Lewis can't do it. I think the way he hits, it's any man's game, honestly. But
Mm-hmm.
the technique that Ty has, I don't see him defending that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see him defending that. I think this is it's gonna be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Neither one
It's
of
gonna be
these
crazy.
guys do I see actually, if everything stands as is with the title picture,
Mm-hmm.
um with you either talking about Ngannou facing Ngannou or Jon Jones if he comes up. I don't see either one of these guys making that jump.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But just in this with this matchup, I don't know that Lewis is gonna be able to do it. I would love to see Lewis do it. I'm a fan of his, but I don't see it.
I feel you on that 100%. I would make the distinction. I feel like because it's MMA, I never feel comfortable saying like I can't imagine this guy being champ, just because so many things could happen that could
Oh,
lead
for
to that.
sure, for sure.
But I feel like I agree. If any one of these two guys I feel like has that championship aspiration, I think it's Ty and not
Yeah,
Derek Lewis at this point in his career.
yeah,
And that's because he mixes it up. He has the leg kicks added on as well. He
Mhm.
throws things like flying knees, which you don't see a lot out of
Yeah.
heavyweights. So there's more of a complete package.
Mhm.
But what I find interesting, and you mentioned that the matchup between the two of them, whenever Derek Lewis has had trouble, you would think it's two wrestlers, but it's
Mm.
not. He wants to fight wrestlers because they
Yeah.
sort of tire themselves out a little bit, and he
Yeah.
ends up finding a way to end up on top.
Yeah.
Strikers have given the most issue, whether it be Junior Dos Santos, Mark Hunt, and that
Mhm.
that is literally tied to Ivasa's sort of mentor in this fight game.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I agree. I'm actually going with Ty too. I think the first round is going to be scary. Like
It is.
hold on to your drinks. Don't
Yeah.
blink because it's going to be
Yeah.
wild. I'm thinking about that Greg Hardy fight where he wasn't even throwing
Yeah.
punches. He was just
Yeah.
throwing straight leg kicks until
Yeah.
he ended up getting cracked and
Mhm.
sort of brought into the brawl, and that's when it really got crazy.
Mhm.
So don't be surprised. I will say this: don't be surprised if we get a little bit of that sort of two guys staring at the mirror kind of thing for
Mhm.
a little bit at the
Yeah.
beginning, because
Yeah.
once someone gets tagged, it's going to lead to that chaotic ending
Mhm.
that we saw in that Greg Hardy fight.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
I'm excited for this one. I hope it plays out the way we think it is.
It's gonna be nice, man. And then thinking about just like afterwards, like the winner of this matchup, are they facing Cyril Gahn? Because I
That's a great
almost
question.
feel like Cyril Gahn is like, even though he lost, he is somewhat the gatekeeper for
Mhm.
contenders right now. So
For
that's gonna be
sure.
scary.
I heard some rumblings that they were trying to get Gon to face Curtis Blades, which I think is another one of those
Ooh,
gatekeeper scenarios.
yeah, yeah,
Curtis Blades is also in that spot too now, if you ask me, where
yeah,
he's gotten a bunch of 5 round fights that he ended up winning and still hasn't found his way back into that title picture. I
yeah,
think that will be good. I mean, you got to be putting these guys in the co-main event for a reason. That's the only
for sure.
reason I'm thinking it could be a potential next title fight matchup.
Hmm.
I think especially if Derek Lewis wins, they're gonna push that.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah. I would like to see that, but just slightly off topic again. But um, do you feel that? Because I think we touched upon this a couple weeks ago. But do you feel that it's right or almost disrespectful that, let's say, Jon Jones does come up into the heavyweight division? I mean, I know he put on the weight and everything like that, but I'm still skeptical as to whether we are going to see him fight. Um, but let's say he does. Do you think that is disrespectful to guys like Lewis and Ty that he automatically jumps them into contendership, or it's just what's right?
I think he's a very special scenario. I think if it was anybody else, I think 100% is disrespectful to the division. But he's in that rarefied air like GSP was,
Yeah,
where
yeah, yeah,
GSP was able to come back, and you can't really say too much about it, even though
yeah.
a couple of people were belly aching about it, understandably so. There's a
Mm.
cue for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't deny with everything he's accomplished that he's deserving of that shot, especially because he gave up his title.
Yeah, yeah,
You just kind of feel like no matter what, his next fight has to be a title fight. So
yeah.
that's the only reason why I'll allow it. But I don't like that. I don't like that because in any other like in boxing, they can't do that. Like
Right, right.
you have to come up a certain way.
Yeah.
So
If you move divisions, you gotta make your way, and like I understand it. I get it. Like, of course, especially as like a business, you make
the
that
biggest
you
business move.
make that match, you make that matchup. But like, just thinking about it in terms of like the people that are actually uh, uh fighting for that contender spot, it kind of feels like it's a little messed up in a way. Even though, but
Definitely.
I get it. But like, to me, the whole thing was GSP was coming back to his division.
That's very true.
Jones ain't never been in this division, so it's like that's where I kind of feel a little iffy with it. I really
Mhm.
don't know how to feel about it. I'm gonna
I
watch
think
either
the
way.
fact, yeah, literally, you're gonna watch either way. I think the fact that he was also statistically the biggest light heavyweight ever is
Hmm.
is a big factor into why it's looked at that way.
Yeah.
Um, people like Randy Couture also came back and got a title fight right away. So
Yeah.
I think there's some precedent there with the UFC. They're sort of known for doing these moves.
Hmm.
Um, I feel like when it comes to Jon Jones, I want to hate on him so much, so it's easy for me to say, they shouldn't do it.
Hmm.
But I think he's deserving just based on his career, the body of work.
It'd be interesting. It'd be interesting. I mean, I know they are going to make the matchup. There's no way they don't. But
It just sucks that we don't have any idea. Like we don't have a date. He first announced that he's going to heavyweight, I think at this point a year ago.
yeah,
So it's
yeah,
like kind of just forever waiting for him to decide he's ready.
yeah. And I know he just tweeted something the other day about being ready for the greatest heavyweight of all time. So I like or something to that effect. He said something to that effect. But um, he
I would
keeps
imagine
teasing
that'll be
us.
Stipe.
It's Miocic, yeah, it's for
Hmm.
sure. For sure it is. But I don't, which is the matchup I want to see. I
Hmm.
want to see him either against Stipe or Shogun, just based off
Hmm.
of technique and matchups like that. Those type of matchups make sense to me. But so I wouldn't be mad if it was Stipe, but like just thinking about him just automatically jumping into the title picture, like at least get one fight. That's all I'm saying. Just at least get
I
one
agree.
fight and then move into the title picture.
Like it would be so cool if they did it like with Anderson Silva when he went up to 205.
Mm-hmm.
Like give him someone in the top 15. Like don't give him
Yeah,
someone in
yeah,
that title picture and see
yeah,
how he looks. If
yeah,
he looks that dominant, then you kind of forced in that position to give him the shot.
yeah.
I think for him too, like it's better for him to see he's going up, adapting. You would want that in my head.
Not only
But
that, but when's the
respect,
last time he fought?
yeah, literally,
When's the
it's been
last time
over
he
two
actually
years now.
competed? So
It's been 2 years.
yeah, like let's let's get a tune up,
Pump the
get a tune
brakes
up
a
fight.
little, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
He's
but
not that guy though, and I respect it, man. Like
yeah, I do too. I do too.
it's there's not a lot of people signing on the dotted line to do shit like that. Like
Yeah,
let's be real, especially off of that amount of rest.
yeah.
Um, but what can you say, man? That whole family's full of super athletes.
Oh, for sure, for
They're ready
sure,
to go. They're
for
ready to
sure.
go. But yeah, so we're both going to tie in that co-main event, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir. And then it's only right we get into this because I'm so excited about this fight, man. I wanted this fight since the day the first fight happened. Like
Yeah,
I
yeah,
wanted this immediate rematch.
yeah.
Uh Israel Adesanya versus Robert Whitaker for the 185-pound title.
Yeah,
I just saw the face-offs today. Izzy is so much taller than him. Like he's
bro.
so much bigger than him. Um, what do you think about this rematch?
I don't think it's going to end any other way than the first one did. I
Hmm.
I can't I can't see uh uh Izzy losing this because while Whitaker has improved since that matchup, Izzy has significantly improved, even though he lost the matchup. You see what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Like it's Izzy is like a computer. Like every time he steps into the cage, whatever he needs to improve on, the next time you see him, he's improved that and it's like drastically improved. It's not just like a little bit. He works on his technique and you can see that he's putting time in and I I can't bet against him. Like I almost have to see it to actually say, okay, yeah, it's possible. I don't see him losing this matchup. I
Hmm.
really don't. Whitaker, I have nothing but respect for him. I love how he fights. I love how he fights. I don't, even with the improvements, I don't see him being able to beat Adesanya because I actually think that Izzy's loss is going to help him with his wrestling game.
Hmm.
So I don't see that's the thing about it. Like I said, where he's kind of lacking, like in area, whatever area he's out lacking, the next time that he's tested in that area, boom, he's just drastically improved. So I can't see him coming into this fight and not like us not seeing uh uh, uh his improvement with his wrestling or I mean his striking is just out of this world. I think to me he's one of the better strikers because he's so precise.
Mhm.
Like you don't even
And
see it.
patient as well.
Yeah. He's not rushing. He's looking and taking taking shots. Um, I can't I can't bet against him. I can't bet against him. And I can't wait to see what entrance he comes out to this time.
It's so it's so funny, dude, because I showed my hand on this weeks ago. So you already
Yeah.
know who I'm picking.
Yes.
And I just love that
Yes.
you're so convicted on the opposite end because I'm very
Yeah.
convicted too.
Yeah.
And for entirely different reasons. I really feel like that first matchup was an anomaly in a lot of ways. And the
Mm-hmm.
reason why I feel like there was so much pressure on Whitaker being at home. And he
Mm-hmm.
talked about leading into that fight, even before the fight, he felt like he really was considering retirement. And after that
Before the
fight,
fight.
yeah, before the fight. And
Wow.
after the fight, he ended up taking a big hiatus where he didn't even train for like 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
And he realized through that, he found his love again for training, ended up going back through jujitsu, not even through striking, through jujitsu. He
Oh.
found his love again for martial arts. And
Yeah.
he was saying that it was entirely because he was overworking himself. He
Mm-hmm.
wasn't spending time with his family,
Mm-hmm.
and he was out running hills, doing all the things you have to do to stay as champion.
Mm-hmm.
That he sort of got caught up in that, and I heard him talk about it on a bunch of different occasions, and it was really eye opening for me because you got to find a balance in life, regardless of what your profession is. And
Yeah.
when you're at the top like that, everyone's got a target on your back, and it's a lot. You got media, all the other things going on. I
Mm-hmm.
think that fight specifically, he's never showed up and looked like that.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
only time he's ever lost besides that fight was against Stephen Thompson.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that was at 170. So I'm really excited to see him show up in a neutral area. None of these guys are from Houston.
Yeah.
They're even playing field in that way. There's still pressure on Whitaker. Don't get me wrong, because
Mm-hmm.
if you ask me, if a champion is there and they're the dominant champion and you lose to them twice,
Mm-hmm.
you're not going to find yourself in that spot unless
No.
there's nobody else.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think there's is pressure, but all the pressure's on Adesanya in this one, and I think that's going to do a lot for Whitaker in this fight. Something that you keyed in on as far as his wrestling getting better. I don't think um, it is the threat of wrestling that is going to be the guarantee. I think it's
Mm.
the mixed martial arts aspect of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Izzy obviously is a striker first. Whitaker does such a good job of mixing things up, and I think the
Mm-hmm.
threat of the takedown is going to lead into success on the feet. I
Mm-hmm.
think there's going to be a lot of times where you see him instead of engaging in that firefight like he did in the first fight,
Mm-hmm.
jabbing and circling off. And
Yeah.
Hadesanya's not used to that. He's
Yeah.
not used to having people angle off on him. He's usually doing that.
Mm-hmm.
So I could see stretches of this fight being pretty boring, like the Yoel Romero
Yeah.
fight,
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
Izzy's
Yeah.
trying to goat him into the brawl,
Yeah.
and Whitaker's taking his time and being patient. And if you ask me, that's his route to success. Pick him apart on the outside, even though you're the smaller guy. Still work your jab because that's his skill set. Like he
Mm-hmm.
has a very good jab, and I watched back the first fight, and that jab was landing the whole fight.
Oh,
Like
for
he
sure.
was landing
For sure.
hard on Izzy,
Yeah.
but Izzy was willing to stay in the pocket.
Yeah.
Interesting little anecdote. I was listening to the MMA Hour today,
Mm-hmm.
and Izzy's coach actually admitted that in that first fight, he went entirely against the game plan and went out for the knockout instead of sort of going for the long haul, which you've seen in his recent fights. He's
Yeah.
been um, pitching complete shutouts,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what his coach was saying they want to aim for in this one.
Yeah.
So if there's a prop bet you want to get on this one, I think a decision might not be too bad for either guy.
Yeah.
Um,
For
but
sure.
I'm excited because I feel like if Whitaker shows up 80% of himself, we have
Mm-hmm.
a fight on our hands that's 10 times better than that last one. Obviously, spectacular knockout for Izzy. I'm not trying to take anything away from him. It was all on him that he was able to do that. But there was just so many factors that clouded Robert Whitaker in that fight that I think
Yes.
he's now free of. And in the last couple of fights, the biggest key for me that makes me confident in this is he hasn't gone out there and been entirely dominant. No, there's been times in his last couple of fights where he's gotten rocked and gotten back up and was able to finish the fight and still win the decision.
Mm-hmm.
And that means a lot in a matchup like this against someone that's already knocked you out. You're
Yeah.
probably going to get hit at some point. But you
Yeah.
got to know that you could still be in it. And he's shown that in his recent fights. And I think if you ask me, Izzy hasn't been tested yet. Even in that Jan fight, there was a lot of times where, yeah, he got put on his back, and that's where the
Mm,
true test was. But there was a lot of moments where he was in cruise control in that fight,
he was.
even though it was close.
Yeah.
So I think if Whitaker really puts it on him, keeps his distance, and finds his spots to sort of engage, I think he could really surprise Izzy in this one. So my pick is Robert Whitaker.
Yeah. That's I didn't think about it like that. I do think though, similar to Ngannou, I think we're gonna see something with Izzy that we've never seen before.
Mm.
And I like it's weird because I slick feel like that almost every time that he fights. That we could see something, a little more dynamic that he just didn't do before. And I think again with that loss to Jan, I think that is very possible that we could see him implement wrestling a little more and try to dictate the pace that way as well. But it's something about the reach advantage for Izzy. Like every matchup that he has that advantage, you can see just how patient he is with the strikes. Even with him taking on, like he'll take, but he gives significantly more than he takes. And it's something about that element that I just, until I see that it doesn't work, until that day comes, almost similar to like Anderson Silva.
Mm-hmm.
Until I see it, I won't believe it.
Yeah, man.
I won't
And it's
believe it.
tough. It's so funny though, because we did see it, and in a lot of
Mhm.
ways, I still feel like in that fight with Jan, you could
Mhm.
argue that Izzy won. Like it was that close of
Yes,
a fight,
yes, it
and that's
was.
probably
Yeah.
why we don't feel like he's been touched in that way or faced adversity in that way, because even as the rounds were going on, it didn't feel like it was Jan's fight until
Yeah.
that fifth round
Yeah.
where he was
Yeah.
able to get the takedown. So
Yeah.
I feel like I agree. I think this is going to be really good. Like the first round is going to dictate how what kind of fight this is going to be. We're going to know
Mhm.
immediately if we're on for the same sort of path as we was in the first one.
Mhm.
I think the fact that he knocked him basically almost out at the end of the first round and then was able to finish him in the second. I think that's really key because if you ask me, I think the most like probable thing that's gonna happen is we end up in that same scenario again, and he's rocked early,
Yeah. Yeah.
like he has been in the last couple of fights, and then he is able to find his way back into the fight late, which obviously will make for an historically great fight. So that's what I'm
Yeah.
hoping for,
Yeah.
and to start off to a big trilogy for sure.
Nah. Now that would be something if it was a trilogy. That'd be
Mhm.
something for sure. I just, yeah. I mean, even going off what you just said about Izzy's coach, if Izzy won that fight and it wasn't the game plan, imagine what he does when it is the game plan.
Mhm.
Like that's I just I don't know, man. This is gonna be one hell of a fight, and I agree. It could be boring, especially in the first two rounds. But I I I don't I don't know this is gonna go to decision.
Mhm.
I think like the furthest we
Really.
might see is like 3 rounds.
Got you. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's I think the hardest thing to do in MMA is to face somebody that you already knocked out because there's
Mm-hmm.
so much expectations to you to do exactly what you did the first time.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, man, there's so many little storylines in this fight that really gets me excited. Like
Yeah.
even just the fact that they're from the same country,
Mm-hmm.
but two different sides of it. Like they're
Yeah.
they're from
Yeah.
they're from
Yeah.
two different like there's
Yeah.
a real rivalry there in a lot of
Mm-hmm.
different aspects. They're both nerds in their own right, which I find
For
pretty
sure.
funny.
Yeah.
Izzy's a big anime guy.
Yeah.
Whitaker loves his video games. He's a big Skyrim guy. So there's so many little angles like that get me excited for this one. I just feel like, especially what I saw as far as the face off and how Whitaker looks, he's not riled up. He's not trying to be someone he's not, which I thought he was in that first fight. He's just real calm, smiling at Izzy. And I think that's really gonna set the tone in this one. So if honestly, if we don't get a knockout early, I think this is going to be an all-time great kind of fight, because that's the kind of fights Whitaker's has been in his entire
Yeah,
career. Like looking
yeah,
back to the Yoel Romero trilogy, all of
yeah,
those fights were insane
yeah.
and really back and forth close fights. So that's what I'm hoping for here.
What's the possibility you think that we see Izzy go for a submission?
Very high, very high. We saw that in the Kelvin Gastelum fight when he ended up on the ground, he was
Mm,
attacking immediately, and I
mm,
don't think he attacks because he thinks he's gonna get it. I think
yeah,
it's a sort of way to
just to wear him
invite the
down.
scramble.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Um, and especially because I imagine at some point in this fight, Whitaker's gonna take him down. For
Mm,
years now, I think it's 4 years ago,
mm.
he's been invited by the Australian national team for wrestling, because that's the kind of level of wrestling he has. I think that's important to note, because that isn't always being shown in his fights.
Who,
But the fact that
Whitaker?
yes, he's been invited to the Australian
Wow.
national team for 4 years. So every year at a certain point when they're doing their trainings, he's out there working with those guys. And
Wow.
I think that's really key to note, because he doesn't really show it in his fights, but you really saw it in the Yoel Romero fights. His
Hmm.
defensive wrestling is so good.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
I could only imagine what he's been cooking up on the offensive side.
yeah.
I'm just a little worried about that, because I feel like that's like the ideal path. Everyone's like, he's a striker, you got to take him down.
Mm.
But I feel like if he leans a little too hard on that, he could end up tiring himself out.
Oh, he
So
will tire himself out.
exactly. So
Yeah.
I feel like that's why I was saying MMA is key in this one.
Hmm.
Perfect example of why I picked Brunson. I feel like I always try to lean with the guy that has more MMA skills than
Yeah.
just a striker. But it's bitten me in the butt with Izzy before. So, and don't get me wrong, I'm an Izzy fan. Like
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah,
love watching him fight. I've been a fan of his before he was in the UFC.
yeah,
But it's just something about that this matchup specifically. Like I was calling for this matchup
yeah,
before that first fight, and it broke my heart, man, because I'm a
yeah,
big Whitaker fan. So
yeah.
yeah, I'm trying. It sounds like I'm trying to will it now, so I'm gonna stop.
I
But
feel you on it though, bro. It's an interesting take. This is gonna be a very interesting matchup. I think either way, um, win or lose, I wouldn't mind seeing this as a third fight. I
mhm,
like it's weird because there's certain matchups where um you see these guys and it's like you can only get a trilogy if there's a tie. To be completely honest, Whitaker loses this fight, I still want to see a third one. I don't care.
mhm,
I really
I
don't care.
agree.
I really don't care. I don't see who else is in the division that I would rather see against Izzy right now.
Exactly. Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So I think it would be a fun thing to see for
Top
sure.
15. Yeah, I'm just pulling up the top 15 real quick so I could think
Yeah,
of that. But I
yeah,
agree. I feel like it's sort of like that Max Holloway Volkanovski situation. Like
yeah.
these are the guys, and
Hmm.
Whitaker proved that. He went 3-0 since losing this fight. And I
Yeah.
think that's really important. It's not like he he was sort of sitting in the back and licking his wounds.
Hmm.
He's come back in a big way.
For sure.
Let me look at this top 15 real quick. Yeah, the next guys on the horizon is Derek Brunson or Jared Cannonier. And then after that, you got guys like that weirdo Sean Strickland that won last week. And then all the way down, once again, the guy I've been advocating for, Nasruddin Imavov, he's going to be fighting as well, Kelvin Gastelum coming up. So I'm
Mm.
excited about that fight. That fight's going to be cracker.
Gastelum, I love him. I think it's time, bro.
He need to go to welterweight. I feel like he could be a championship level fighter at
Something needs to
welterweight.
change. Either move divisions or just retire because
Hmm. He's so young though, dude. He's so young.
I know, but you can't keep losing like that. I mean, I know he won. Did he win his last fight?
Yep.
So that was what last summer.
I'll tell you right now. Give me 1 second.
I just want to see him. I want to see him change something.
So
Like,
I completely lied. The last fight that he won was in February of last year.
Middleweight last
His
year.
last fight was a loss in the summer against Jared Cannonier.
Okay, so yeah, if he loses this one, something's got to change.
For
Something's got to
sure.
change.
For
Something's
sure.
got to change. So,
And it's so crazy because when he first showed up against in middleweight against Tim Kennedy,
mm,
you felt like you were looking at the future. Like
yeah, yeah,
that
yeah,
was
yeah.
such a big sort of
It
changing of the
felt like it
guard
was
moment.
so long ago, man.
That is so long ago. Let me see the
God,
year. Let me see the year. Dude, that was 2016. Yeah, 8
Jesus.
years ago. That's crazy.
Oh my God.
That hurts me to hear, bro. I feel like, damn, like your boy's getting old, son.
That's wild. That's wild. Well, I mean, I'm looking forward to this matchup, bro. I think this is gonna be a great card. Um, I think do
I'm
you
gonna
think
try to
this do you,
sneaky look through the card too to see what other matchups we could talk about.
no, you
What were
get
you gonna say?
but do you think this card could potentially be like early candidate for one of the best ones that we're gonna have this year?
Yeah, man. There's a lot of prospects on this one that I'm excited about.
Yeah.
So yeah, it really always depends on how the fights play out.
Mm-hmm.
I love those fight cards where you sort of feel the momentum, like as we're getting
Yeah,
closer
yeah,
to the main event.
yeah,
Guys are showing up, having big performances.
yeah.
The middle part of this card is actually worse than the prelim part, if you ask me. These early prelims show up for them because there's a lot of young prospects that are really good,
Yeah, yeah.
that are fighting against lower level competition, but
Mm.
really looking to make a statement. I think there's going to be a lot of finishes on this card. Good luck fighting for that bonus.
Oh, looking forward to it, man. Looking
Yeah,
forward to it.
man.
Yes,
Exciting
sir.
stuff. So the official pick, you going Izzy by KO?
I'm going. I'm going Izzy third round. I think it could either be KO or submission. I don't know why I'm feeling like it's
Mm,
going to be a submission,
that'll be insane.
but I'm because I think we're going to see something we've never seen before.
Mm-hmm.
I just I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna go
I
for it.
like
Not,
it.
submission third round.
I like it, dude. I like it.
Submission third round by Izzy. I think he's got some stuff to show people. I think he still wants to prove a lot of people wrong. So
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
And
these
I'm
both these
going.
guys are hungry though. So
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. I'm just hoping we get the fight we thought it was going to be the first time.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I think this
yeah.
is going to be like we did with Rose and Wei Lee. Remember when we
Mm-hmm.
had that conversation? It showed up the way that we thought they would.
Yeah,
I'm going Whitaker by decision. I think if anyone's going to finish is Adesanya, if you ask
yeah,
me.
yeah.
But I won't be surprised if he cracks him at some point and really has Izzy thinking about things, because the fact that Gastelum was able to get to him the way he did,
Mm-hmm.
multiple times in the fight too. It wasn't
Yeah.
just once that he had him rocked. He
Mm-hmm.
caught him with that head kick and as well as a couple of combination punches. Look out for that. Even though Whitaker hasn't finished anybody since 2017,
Yeah.
watch out for those sneaky head kicks that he has, because who knows? But I'm going with Whitaker by decision. This is gonna be a good one.
It's gonna be
Let's just
good.
hope. Let's hope and pray right now that the Houston judges don't mess this up for us.
Yeah,
Give us
about
the rightful winners, please.
that. Yeah, I don't. If we see anything going decision, I'm gonna be pissed. I already know that. I
Yeah,
already know
man.
that. Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
man.
All
Even
right.
last week there was some weird, like, I don't know if you watched it, but in the main
No, I
event
didn't.
with Sean Strickland and Jack Hermanson,
Mm.
it was basically a shutout for Sean Strickland. I had a 49, 46. They somehow, one of the judges gave it one of the cards entirely to Jack Hermanson, and it turned into a split decision. Meanwhile, the other two guys have him winning 4 rounds. Like, what fight were you watching, bro?
Yeah,
Crazy.
I'm looking forward to seeing if they actually will do the open judging because this I'm not sure where these judges are, basing these fights on. A lot of
Exactly.
times it's weird. It's
Because
weird.
there's so many times where I hate to be this guy, but it feels like even incompetency can't lead to some of the, like, if it starts
Right.
feeling a little like, are you paid off?
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
there something going on in behind the scenes? Because
Yeah.
even if you don't know what you're seeing, there's no way you got to that scorecard.
Yeah.
So let's just hope none of that happens this weekend.
I'm hoping so, man. I'm hoping so. But all right,
Yes,
man.
sir.
Let's give them our socials and get up out of here.
Yes,
Um,
sir. So for all your MMA needs, you can check me out at for first of all on Twitter at Negron MMA and then on Instagram at Chris Negron _ We got a lot of big things coming up on the MMA archive. Another episode coming to you guys this Saturday, as
sure.
well as and look forward to this. I got a episode in a couple weeks that I'm gonna be doing a live fight companion with one of my cool
Ooh,
friends from Twitter. His name is Eric Betts Fights. Shout out to
nice.
my guy. I'm looking forward to that, and look out for that because we're gonna be trying to go live and trying to have it so that you guys could watch along with us, and you'll see sort of how I go about watching these fights and how I would react if I wasn't taking notes. So that's gonna be exciting.
Ooh, no, that'd be nice. That's gonna be nice. Okay,
Yeah,
bet.
man.
I'm definitely looking at that, looking watching that. But yeah, you can follow me at Derrick _ OTS. It's DERICK, black way to spell it. Um, but please don't follow me if you have to choose one or the other. Choose the brand, OTS Media Co. All social media platforms, youtube.com/OTS Media. Go to otsmediaco.com. Check out all the articles and shows that we have up there for you guys. Please rate, review, subscribe on YouTube. But rate and review and let us know what you guys think about the show, think about the episodes, think what the direction we're taking the show. I know we didn't in this episode because this episode we were just covering 271, but I know we didn't get to go over the bets, the betting odds, but please check it out. We are leaning heavy into sports betting with these episodes, with this show in general. So please check it out. Follow. We are on Instagram now. I
Hmm.
forgot about that. The
I was gonna
sideline
cap it
guys.
off. Yes, sir.
Yeah, the sideline guys. Check us out. What is it? The sideline guys _ OTS or just the
Y-
sideline guys?
I think it's _ OTS. Double check
Okay.
for the people at home.
Yeah, the sideline guys _ OTS. Check us out. Chris is going to uh be the one that's actually handling it more so to give you guys a lot of reviews and depth with betting. So please follow the page. Looking forward to sharing the content with you guys and hearing what you guys think about what we're doing. I think we're going places. I think
For
we're going
sure.
places for sure, man. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But enjoy UFC 271, guys. We will catch you guys next time. See y'all
Peace.
later.